Hello all, and welcome to Alyx's World, a safe space for wrestling fans like you. This is your AEW Dynamite review, March 19th, 2025, 2 weeks away from Dynasty as of this Sunday. Before I turn on this camera, full transparency, I went back and rewatched the entire show from start to finish, twice. Because coming out of the first watch through, I don't know. I was kind of leaning on this being a bad show. I don't know why. I couldn't explain it. I said, maybe I'm just tired. Let me go back and rewatch it again. Coming out the second time, still kind of feeling like this show wasn't it. And I think I have more clarity on why. So we are going to get into that. But before we do, let's get a quick word from our partners at Mint Mobile, who are here to offer you a sweet deal for their mobile plan starting at $15 a month. So we'll listen to them first, and then we'll get to our Dynamite review. This video is partnered by Mint Mobile. Like many of you, I've been trying to cut back on expenses lately, but let's be real. It's tough when you got things to do and you don't want to give them up. But sometimes you have to make those sacrifices to pay your phone bill and satisfy the big tech companies. That was until I discovered Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless services starting as low as $15 a month. With Mint Mobile, you can get high-speed data plus unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. The best part? You get to keep your phone and even the phone number. Now, if you do want to purchase your own phone, they do have phones available on the website, which you can get through the link. The internet service is reliably fast. It's so seamless, I put it up there with any other network on the market. Now, some of you might think switching to a new service is a hassle. Let me reassure you, this is only going to take you 15 minutes to set up. You could literally do it right now from your phone. No need to leave your house or contact anybody. And if your device does not support eSIM, then Mint Mobile will personally ship you a physical SIM card. So if you're like me and you want to save a little bit of money without sacrificing anything, use the link trymintmobile.com/justalyx and start your wireless plan today as low as $15 a month. Don't lose out on this opportunity. Start saving money by switching to Mint Mobile today. Okay, getting right into it. AEW continues to struggle with storytelling. Point blank. If you watch this show for the in-ring action, you probably thought this was a good episode. I'll even say, despite my issues with it, it was better than last week's, but last week's was one of the worst episodes of Dynamite I personally have ever seen. So you're going from absolute dog shit to something that's not going to be remembered in the next 2 weeks. Underperformative. Below average. So I guess by default it's better, but it's not a show I would recommend that people go watch. But from an in-ring aspect, it was good. Matter of fact, I thought the Fatal 4-Way match of the night, really enjoyed that. I think Speedball Mike Bailey, in terms of an in-ring performer, great pickup. Fits in very well with AEW. And the crazy part, despite having Ricochet, of course, Orange Cassidy, and Mike Bailey, the best part of the match was, of all people, Mark Davis. I thought Mark Davis was outstanding in this match, being the powerhouse brute of the bout. He looked incredible. Give me more of this Mark Davis. For real. Insane performance. He did win. We'll talk about that in a second. I thought the Fatal 4-Way was great. I thought Mercedes Moné versus Billie Starkz was great. Yeah, I really liked that match. Billie Starkz, I've seen a couple of her performances. I don't watch a lot of Ring of Honor. She really impressed me. Of course, she wrestled Mercedes Moné, one of the best female wrestlers today. We can talk about her packaging, her presentation, her promos, which are not great. I agree with you. But in terms of in-ring performance, Mercedes Moné has delivered every single time. And I wish AEW would get it right with her in terms of her presentation. We'll get to that in a second. I thought the main event, which should not have been the main event, this was Megan Bayne versus Kris Statlander. Don't know why that was the main event. I have my theory, which we'll get into. I thought that was good. And of course, you're setting up Toni Storm versus Megan Bayne, We'll talk about that and why I think that's an issue. But the match itself, I had no issues with. Of course, you're going to have a Will Ospreay match. That's going to be great. And it was against AR Fox. What do you want me to think that match was going to be? That match was always going to be great. So, the only issue I had, of course, was the world title match. Now, people are going to tell me, it was better than their pay-per-view match. No shit. Quite frankly, this should have been the pay-per-view match. This match we got tonight should have been what we got at the pay-per-view. Now, compared to that dog shit of a match, this was marginally better. It was better, but not by much. The best part of the match was, oh, Jesus Christ, Jon Moxley getting impaled, literally impaled by a spiked 2x4 through his back. I was going to call him Edge. I somehow landed between Edge and Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland, Cope, suplexed Moxley on a spiked 2x4, and it impaled him. The spikes went through his back. We literally saw the spikes embedded in his back. And then when they tried to pull it out, it was ripping off his skin like a horror film. It was such a gruesome sight. One of the sickest spots I've seen, even for me. I grew up during the Attitude Era, during the era of ECW. I can comfortably say that is one of the sickest, most uncomfortable things I've seen on television, wrestling television. Jon Moxley is a sick, twisted individual for doing that spot. In all the best ways, of course. But that match had the exact same finish as the main event at the pay-per-view. It was just overall a better match. The Death Riders come out, they interfere, we get some help from FTR and Willow Nightingale, and then Christian screws everything up. Not Christian himself, but the patriarchy. Again, if Christian had cashed in and won the belt, we would not be in this situation. But for some reason, Tony Khan is desperately clinging on to this Death Rider storyline. It's dead! No one cares about it, Tony. But he's not listening. So let's get to the biggest issue about why I did not like this show and why I thought it sucked. We talk about storytelling. Even the minor stuff makes no sense. So, fine. Fatal 4-way, Ricochet and Mike Bailey, as you know, win. They both pin Mark Davis. Now, we've seen this before. Thousands of times. Hundreds of thousands of times in wrestling. Two wrestlers get the pinfall. Alright, so who won the match? Let's have another match to decide who's going to go on to whatever. Fight for the championship or compete in something, right? This skipped that one part of the storytelling that's essential. So Ricochet and Mike Bailey pin Mark Davis. What's supposed to happen is, alright, we can't decide who won this match, so we're going to have another match between Ricochet and Speedball Mike Bailey to determine who fights Kenny Omega. Now, let's just say they have that match and then they both pin each other. Then we get the triple threat. Now it's like, okay, look, we don't got time for this. You're both in the match. Then you can do that, right? We don't even get that. They just both pin Mark Davis and they both get the championship shot at Kenny Omega, which we all know they're going to lose. Now look, some of you don't give a damn about that. The match is going to be a 5-star classic triple threat match. It will be an incredible match. But you suck and you fall apart at the most important aspect of this. The storytelling. This made no sense. At all. When in the world have two wrestlers pinned a wrestler and they just let it go? No, that's not how it works. There has to be some kind of controversy because that's not how it works. Someone has to come out and say, alright, we gotta throw out this decision. Someone needs to actually win this the right way. We'll just settle this in another match or something. Tony Khan comes out. There has to be a logical explanation. We as hardcore fans, we let it go because we've seen it 10,000 times. If you're watching it as a casual viewer, you're like, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense because it doesn't. Little things like that you let go hurts your product. It might not be a big deal to you, Tony, but it is a big deal. So that's number one. Number two, why didn't the world title match main event this show? Again, it was the worst match of the show. By default, it wasn't a terrible match. It was marginally better than the main event at Revolution, which I paid $50 for, and I'm pissed off at you for making me pay $50 for. And the only reason you even did this match, the only reason he even did this match was to make up for how bad that match was. But why wasn't it the main event? This was the world title match. I think this was the only championship match on the entire show. It was. Why wasn't it the main event? I love Megan Bayne. I love Chris. I love Tony. I love all the women in the main event that was involved. But that had no reason being the main event. I'm thinking what happened was Tony Khan heard all the complaints about how Toni Storm and Mariah May should have closed Revolution. Yeah. Yes, it should have. It stole the show. And I think in his mind he went, oh, I guess that means they want the women to close the show. No, Tony. Jesus Christ. You're hearing us, but you're not listening. What we're saying is the match with the most important story, the one that the fans are invested in the most, should close the show. Clearly that was not Megan Bayne and Kris Statlander. It was clearly Jon Moxley and Adam Copeland. We have to crescendo to the best part of the show, to the most important part of the show. There has to be some level of storytelling here to keep us invested. This was just a hodgepodge of matches. And by the time you got to the middle of the show, anything following that was irrelevant. You actually hurt AR Fox and Will Ospreay, and then the women, because if I'm a casual viewer, I just saw the most important match. Why even watch the rest of it? Match structure matters. He didn't quite register that. Or he doesn't care. Either way, it's a horrible look on him. But let's go ahead and get to the world title match. Because we keep running into this issue where when you don't have anything for a storyline, you don't know where you're going with it, you just repeat the same stuff over and over and over and over again. We're not advancing anything. That's what we're seeing right now with Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. Every match is the same. Jon Moxley maintains the belt because the Death Riders interfere and he skirts by the skin of his teeth. Every match can't just be that. There has to be some evolution to the character, to the storyline, to something. We've been stuck in first gear with the Death Riders since August. And I'm begging Tony Khan to either give us something new or end it. Yes, it was better than the pay-per-view match. This match should have been on pay-per-view, along with Christian cashing in and actually win the title. I would have loved the match by then. But, imagine that. We get this match, but we get an ending with Christian cashing in and taking the title. My goodness. I would have been calling Revolution pay-per-view of the year so far. It was still a great show. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think Tony has his finger on the pulse anymore. No one wants Jon Moxley or this version of Jon Moxley to be world champion. The Death Riders is killing your show. Every single week this exists, it just makes everything less exciting. And he knows it. He has to know it at this point. I mean, for Christ's sake, it didn't even main event the show. What does that tell you? It was bad. It was bad. Again, marginally better than the main event Revolution, but what? So we're getting Cope versus Christian again? And Moxie's gonna fight Swerve. Jesus Christ. Do I even dare hope that Swerve beats Jon Moxley? I know he's not. He's not gonna beat Jon Moxley. Again, I think it's either gonna be Darby Allin or it's gonna be Will Ospreay. Oh, Jesus Christ. That means I gotta wait until All In. I have to wait until All In. I have to literally wait until All In for Jon Moxley to lose this belt. Almost a full year later. Okay. All right. Let's just move along. I thought Will Ospreay versus AI Fox. Great match. Again, it doesn't feel like we know what to do with Will Ospreay right now until we get to the tournament, of course. Hangman Page, MJF, the same thing. MJF is doing this thing with the Hurt Business, which is weird. It's just weird. It's not because he's why. No, that's not why I'm saying it's weird. It's just, what does he have in common with the Hurt Business at all? This feels out of left field for no reason. It's something for him to do until we get to the Owen Hart Cup, I guess. But that's exactly my biggest issue with AEW. When you don't know what to do with these talent, they're just doing random shit. There's no long-term planning with these guys. There's no sense of crescendo. There's no sense of direction. There's no sense of any kind of storytelling with these talents. It's just done week by week, and it's annoying. And it's sad when you have one of the best rosters, arguably the best wrestling roster in the world today. And no offense to the women, good match. I don't understand why we're doing Megan Bayne versus Toni Storm this soon. Megan literally just got here. And you're throwing her at Toni Storm this soon. And she's getting a one-on-one match against Toni Storm at the pay-per-view. So when Toni beats her, because she is going to beat her, what do you do with Megan then? Nothing. She becomes another Deonna Purrazzo. That's a mistake. I would have taken my time with Megan Bayne. Let her get some wins. Do a feud with her and Kris Statlander because they have good chemistry. Then give her more wins, and then more wins, and then more wins, and then more wins. And then get her to a point where it's undeniable that it's time to put the belt on her. Treat her like Brock Lesnar. No matter what you do, you can't stop her, and you get this impending doom with her and Toni Storm when you actually do the match with actual build-up. Now it's like, oh, Toni might actually lose the belt. Then if she doesn't lose it, great. If she loses it, even better for Megan Bayne because you built her up. You brought her in, and now she's fighting for the Women's World title with a couple of wins behind her name. What are we doing? What are we doing? See, you take what they're doing with Megan Bayne and Toni Storm, and you see what they're doing with Mercedes Moné and Billie Starkz. What they're doing with Mercedes Moné and Billie Starkz, of course, leading to Athena and Mercedes Moné. I look at that and go, see, that's basic storytelling. You have her fight Billie Starkz, and then after beating Billie Starkz, you go, whoever trained her is an idiot. She must suck too. Without even having to say Athena's name, we instantly know, oh wow, a direction for Mercedes. Now, I don't know when she's fighting Athena. I don't think she's going to fight her at Dynasty. That's way too soon. I'm thinking Double or Nothing. And then we do a rematch between those two at All In. Maybe we get a third match. Maybe they build it to All In. I think All In's a bit too far for Tony Khan. I think we're getting it at Double or Nothing. About fucking time. So happy we're finally bringing Athena to the main roster. They're taking her out of Ring of Honor jail for some reason. I don't know why she was even there. I don't know why she was there to begin with, but I don't even know why she was even on that show. Regardless, they're taking her out of Ring of Honor, bringing her to the main roster to fight. Finally, Mercedes Moné. The more I think about it, that's an all-in match. Actually, that's an all-in match. But no. We can do it at Double or Nothing. It should be the main event. See, again, Toni Storm versus Megan Bayne. That has no story behind it. That's just kind of just happening. Mercedes Moné and Athena, because you've already begun building to it here in March, you have 2 months to give it some legs and make it the main event of Double or Nothing, if not a major match at All In. Because you're allowing the story to build. See, when you do it that way with the right storytelling, pray to God, please get this one right. You can have the women main event. Here, Tony on commentary with Megan Bayne and Kris Statlander, this was just there for no reason. And I think hopefully that made everything make sense what I was trying to say here. The storytelling, the structure of the card, the presentation, it's just off. This show is being booked by someone that doesn't understand the essence of weekly wrestling television. He doesn't know how to tell a story. Maybe he had people that did at some point, but this wasn't it. It wasn't it. Wrestling was good. If you were just watching for the wrestling, you probably thought this was a much better episode than last week, right? You need more than wrestling. You need more than wrestling. I have no idea what Dynasty is going to look like. As of right now, 2 weeks from now? What do we have? We got 2 matches. Tony, Megan Bayne, Swerve, Moxley, right? Oh, and then the triple threat match for the International Championship. I don't watch Saturday Night's Collision, so maybe they'll come up with more. But we got 3 matches so far. We're 2 weeks away. Maybe they'll do Edge and Christian again. Edge and Christian. Adam Copeland and Christian again. Christian Cage. I doubt we're going to get anything with Mercedes. Maybe that's when Athena appears. I got nothing. Don't know what they're doing with the tag team titles. Don't know what they're doing with the trios titles. We still got those, remember? I'm assuming Daniel Garcia will have some kind of a match. Well, no, they're not even going to have him fight Adam Cole at the pay-per-view because he's fighting him on, not Saturday, it's happening on Sunday. Weird. They keep moving Collision around. I don't know anything else that's happening. We got 3 matches and the pay-per-view is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from Sunday. Yeah, I didn't like this episode. You can agree or disagree. Wrestling was good. Overall. The match that should have been the main event was the weakest part of the show. Ironic, huh? It's ironic that I said that. But, I don't know. I'm just over the Death Rider storyline. Can we do something else? Please? Please? The sooner the better. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe things will pick up when we get to the Owen Hart Cup. Because then it could just be the wrestling aspect. Because that just tells the story itself. But still, I really wish Tony Khan cared more about long-term, intricate storytelling. It would take his show to the next level, and it would make things so much better for him. And if you can't do it, Tony, hire someone that will. You're a billionaire. No excuse. But yeah, you give me your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Do all the YouTube things. Like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and Venmo. I love you all. I'll catch you guys next time right here in Alyx's World, a place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Peace.